me take a few minutes to go over the experimental diagram and the analysis of whether or not the result is statistically significant or not. Both of these are things that you're going to do on your test today. So on part A of the question, this is a student's example. It is important that you say the assignment is random. It is important that you give me the specific numbers that you are putting into each treatment. So we have the people that read the beast metaphor, we had the people that read the virus metaphor, so you need to describe those treatments. And then the last thing you need to do is describe the comparison. So some of you will see this where I have the word compare there, and I originally took off one point and then I scribbled it out. So this person is writing about the correct comparison because we're comparing the percentages that would select enforcement. So I needed to see the word enforcement, but I want you explicitly to write the word compare. Tell me what you are comparing. I went back and gave this person credit though because they used the word more. The word more implies a comparison, but on your test today and going forward, I expect that the word comparison is explicit within the description of your experiment. So continuing then, these are the correct answers for part B and C, and I want to go through the correct answers before I go through some examples of ways that I gave partial credit. So people did a good job with this. So the actual difference to two decimal places should be 0.19. I believe it's really 0.185, 18.5%, but to two decimal places, that would be 19%. So in order to fill in these blanks here, I would strongly encourage you to have used one of the models, one of the examples that looks very much like this that we did in class. So if the metaphor doesn't matter, so if the results that we are seeing are just by random chance alone, then the chance, or I suppose you could have put likelihood here, I was trying to help you by putting the letter C there. The chance, it is not the comparison, the chance of a difference. And then this phrase is important, you'll see this on your test today. The chance of a difference as or more extreme than the difference that we actually observed of 19%. So if you go and look at the simulation in the book, there is only one dot out of 100. There is only one dot out of 100 that is greater than 19%. So the likelihood of, or the chance of a difference as or more extreme than 19% in our simulation is only 1 out of 100, that's 1%. So that is something that is unlikely. When it is unlikely, then you do have evidence that the treatment matters. So you do have evidence that the proportion or the percentage that would select enforcement using the beast metaphor is greater than the proportion that would select enforcement using the virus group or the virus metaphor. So let's take a look at some of the examples, rather some of the mistakes that people made. So here, a number of students did this. In your comparison, I didn't take off for this on this assignment, but I would take off for it on the test. You're not comparing the number of people that choose enforcement between the groups. You have to compare the percentages because you have a different number of people in each group. So you have to compare the percentages of the people within each treatment that are giving you the response that you are looking for. So again, same thing down here. So this person just reused the 18% as their probability here. So the 18% is our sample result. This is supposed to be the result that you see, in the simulation, the one dot out of 100, that looks like that 18 or 19% or more. So now this person did make the correct decision. So I wrote an okay here. This percentage is pretty high. That's like 1 out of 5. That's not unlikely. But wait a minute, if something is not unlikely, then you do not have evidence that the proportion is greater for the proportion that is greater that would choose enforcement with the beast metaphor compared to the proportion that would choose enforcement not by chance but by using the virus metaphor. So again, what's important on these questions is that you are consistent. If you get a large percentage, then you should say it's not unlikely and you do not have evidence that the percentage is greater in the beast group than in the group that read the passage with virus. So if you do get a small percentage, then you do have something that is unlikely, and so you do have evidence that maybe for people in general, the percentage that would choose enforcement, reading the beast metaphor, really is greater than those that would choose enforcement by using the virus metaphor. So what's important here is that you are consistent. So take a look. Same thing here. So same thing, this person did something similar. They got a large percentage, so they chose not unlikely. So same thing, they should be choosing don't. They shouldn't be choosing do. I know that do is actually the correct answer, but listen, you do have evidence only when you see something that is unlikely. To me, it is more important that you are consistent. If you think the result is not unlikely, then you do not have evidence. So, guys, I hope that's helpful. Good luck on your test.